Chinese Lunar New Year with a Caribbean flavor. For the Chinese people and people of Chinese descent, the Lunar Chinese New Year is about snow, ice, firecrackers, and big family meals around steaming hot dishes. But this year, we have decided on something more refreshing. Although we are still in Beijing, I have invited the ambassadors of 3 Caribbean countries on set to share with us their perspectives about their traditional festivals, their China experiences. And spoiler alert, their China connections run deep, although they are all incredibly young. Without much ado, let me welcome to this special edition of The Point with me, Liu Xin, Annalisa Lau, Ambassador of Trinidad and Tobago to China, who is also currently the head of the Caribbean Caucus here in China. Hallam Henry, Ambassador of Barbados to China, and Ian Marshall, Grenada's Ambassador to China. Welcome to The Point. It's great to have you here. But before we start our conversation, let's first take a look at the countries that they represent.
What do all Caribbean countries have in common? Fun in the sun, lots of it. Nestled in the tropical waters by the Gulf of Mexico, Barbados, Grenada, and Trinidad and Tobago are 3 major tourist destinations, and they are getting increasingly popular worldwide. Barbados, an eastern paradise known for its vibrant culture and beautiful beaches. Grenada, the island of spice, famous for its nutmeg and cocoa. Trinidad and Tobago, a twin island nation renowned for its carnival. So put your feet up, get your shades on, and put on your flip-flops. Join us as we explore these jewels of the Caribbean, their thriving economies, and stunning natural beauty.
A lovely introduction to these 3 countries in the Caribbean, and it is my first time to focus on this region of the world for the very first time, so I'm really excited. But first of all, introduce yourself to our audience, and Ambassador Henry, shall we start from you?
Yes, please. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me on to the show. It really is a joy to be here in the Chinese New Year season as we approach the Spring Festival. My name is Hallam Henry. I'm Barbados' ambassador to China. Barbados and China have been great friends over the last few years, and I'm really looking forward to share more for our Chinese friends here today.
I understand your Chinese is very, very good because you grew up in China, kind of. Do you have a Chinese name you want to tell us?
Well, yes. I mean, my Chinese name would be Heng Li.
Heng Li.
Hallam Heng Li. And yes, I would have come to China in 2010, originally to study my undergraduate. And life would have taken me to now 14 years here in China. Wow. So I really, you know, it's a country in which I grew up in. And I'm looking to use that energy which I bring to the position to also bring that growth between our 2 relations.
I'm looking forward to hearing more of your story in just a moment. But Ambassador Lau, tell us more about you.
Hello everyone, Dajia Hao. My name is Annalisa Lau, or Liu Na, as my Chinese name would go. I am the ambassador of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago to the People's Republic of China, and I am so very happy and grateful for the opportunity to be here with you, Ms. Liu Xin from The Point, to share a little bit about my Caribbean island home, Trinidad and Tobago, and also the impact of Chinese culture in Trinidad and Tobago as well. So thank you so much for having me.
It's a great pleasure. You look somehow Chinese. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that story?
Yes, of course. I look forward to sharing some more details about the very close ancestral linkages between China and Trinidad and Tobago. But I would like to share that my paternal grandparents are actually from Zhongshan in Guangdong province.
Southern China, hence the Chinese connection there, but we'll explore that in just a moment. Ian, tell us about you, if I may call you Ian.
That's fine. Thank you again, Leo, for having me on the show, The Point. It is a pleasure to be here at this time of the year, where it calls for that gathering of friends and family. My name is Ian Marshall. I am the ambassador of Grenada.
You also have a Chinese name?
Oh yes, I do. I'm called Ma Yan.
Ma Yan.
It's Chen Li Ma Da Ma Yan Shida Yan.
千里马的马。
岩石的岩。
岩石的岩. Okay, for those who don't understand Chinese, it's horse and rock.
Horse and rock.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you also have a very long history of engagement with China. You started coming to China first in which year?
My journey started with China in 2006 when we resumed diplomatic relations with China. The first batch of scholarships, fortunately I was one of them. So it started there. Wow. And now, 12 years later, I'm back to continue what I left off in 2011.
Wonderful, wonderful. We'll hear more about that as well. But since this is such an important occasion, and this is also an occasion where people send greetings, you know, to their friends and relatives. Actually, weeks ahead, people already started wishing their loved ones, their friends, an early Chinese Spring Festival. So I think we should do that here as the occasion calls. Ambassador Henry or Heng Li 大使. Shall we start from you? Would you like to share with us? You speak excellent Chinese. I mean, this conversation should take place in Chinese, I know. Would you like to take the lead and, yeah?
我会几句话吧。
会几句话? You're too modest. You not only learn the Chinese language, but you learn the Chinese culture of being modest too. Ambassador Henry, you want to take the lead?
Yes, I would like to wish our friends here in the audience a happy Lunar New Year. And to do that, I will use a traditional Chinese greeting. 侧目尔尔，焰火年年，朝朝暮暮，岁岁平安.
What does that mean? You want to explain a little bit about its meaning?
Yeah, sure. It is an ancient Chinese greeting that really attracted me actually because of the way it ends with the 岁岁平安. That speaks to the peace and harmony that we're really looking for in the world today. And the 朝朝暮暮 reminds us, along with the nian nian, that we need to work on it all day, every day, all night, throughout the year. Peace is very important to our world today.
Beautiful message. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ambassador Lau, so coming from Guangdong originally, can you maybe speak a little bit of Cantonese here?
Yes, I will try a little bit. My grandmother, she was adamant that we learn a few Cantonese words, so it was very important that we wish our Chinese elders Happy New Year in Cantonese growing up. So to our Cantonese viewers, I would like to say Gong Hei Fat Choi, and also to our Mandarin-speaking viewers, 我想祝你们龙年大吉，万事如意，身体健康. I wish you all a bright and beautiful year of the dragon.
Thank you, thank you. That's wonderful, that's wonderful. And Ian, so how would you like to send your greetings in the way that you are comfortable with?
First of all, I'd like to wish everyone the year of the dragon, prosperity, peace, health, a life in 2024, the year of the dragon, with less stress and a little bit more relaxation, and of course, success. 我想祝大家龙年快乐，平安，身体健康，万事如意，还是最重要，越来越小压力。
压力越来越小。
对。
So Ian, a lot of people have pressure these days, and many of them are resorting to yoga or Tai Chi or Kung Fu to get rid of the stress. Do you have any experience or any 窍门 to share with people so that they can, you know, get rid of their stress a little bit?
Definitely. For example, Tai Chi, which I did while in school. It's one of the forms that helps you to remove your mind from the world around you and simply focus on what's happening with yourself, your body, your legs. So it takes you away from the stresses. And also, you know, physical exercise is also good for stress. So,
you want to do a demonstration?
I can demonstrate to you one of my favorite moves.
That would be great.
Stances in Tai Chi that I still use today as a form of exercise within my busy schedule.
Great, great. Please, thank you. Yeah, please.
Thank you.
to try. Can I? You want to show me?
Sure.
How do you do it?
Right, so we're going to do your right side.
Okay.
So you first, your right foot out as far
should I
out,
do
as far
this
out
side?
as, well, you do this side. As far out as you can.
Okay.
Your foot at the back should be like a T, right? As far as you can. Then we're going to go down as far as you can. Right?
Yeah. Whew.
And
I've been working
as long as you can.
as long as I can.
When
And
you
you
can.
and your body is leaning forward too.
It should be straight up.
It should be straight up.
Straight up, yeah.
It should be straight up.
Yeah?
I've been doing too much desk work.
Excellent.
I'm
well
okay.
done. You're okay. Perfect.
I'm okay. Oh wait, is it like this or like this?
You
This
have
is
to
correct.
bend both knees.
Bend. I have to bend both
Yeah,
knees.
both knees must be bent.
Okay. From now on, I'm presenting the show like this.
There you go. Yeah, that's it.
Whoa, I'm sweating, but it feels excellent.
Yeah, so
Feels
that's
great.
That's
You want to give it a try?
I leave it to the master. I leave it to the master.
Thank you, Ian. That's great. That's great. So, all of you have a lot of connection between both China, Chinese culture, and the culture from the Caribbean region. How about the general public? I mean, how much do they relate to the Chinese culture and vice versa? You know, that you have been here a couple of months or years, according to your observation. Let's start with, for instance, in the Caribbean, in your home country, Barbados, for instance. During this time of the year, are people aware that there is this big, you know, traditional Chinese holiday, that they're also celebrating in kind, if not specifically this particular festival, but, you know, also celebrating, you know, with some kind of festivity?
Yes, no, thank you, Ms. Liu. I would say they're not only aware, they look forward to it. Barbados and China have had relations since 1977, so we're talking in excess of 40 years. And since then, our Chinese community has always celebrated this festival, the Lunar New Year. But most recently, about 10 years ago, we had our first, what we coined, Fish and Dragon Festival. And the Fish and Dragon Festival, the fish represents the fish of the Caribbean Sea.
Mm-hmm.
And the dragon, quite fittingly in this year of the dragon, represents China.
Sure.
And this is a festival that is now annual, and it sees the local Chinese community, the local Chinese embassy, work with Barbadian counterparts. And they put on a production for kids, adults, anyone really, in the Caribbean. They come to Barbados and they celebrate the Lunar New Year with a little fusion with the Barbadian culture. So our carnival is traditionally in the summertime. We call it crop over. And the Lunar New Year, as you know, is usually around January, February. So at the Fish and Dragon Festival, you can have a taste of Chinese food. They have, we here in Beijing, in the embassy, we work with them to facilitate art troupes, sometimes musicians, sometimes dancers, sometimes martial arts specialists, even Chinese traditional medicine practitioners. They come to the island and they showcase the Chinese quality, high quality performances to the Barbadian community.
Yeah.
And it's something that really excites the average Barbadian. So yes, in Barbados we actually look forward to the Lunar New Year. We wish we would get a holiday as you do here in China, but nonetheless it is a great celebration.
How interesting. Fish and Dragon. Ambassador Lau, what is the picture in Trinidad and Tobago? Do you have a similar fusion, or because the country is bigger, there is a bigger Chinese community that they're naturally just celebrating the Lunar Chinese New Year?
Absolutely. Well, actually, Trinidad and Tobago and China, we have a long history of friendship that dates back to 1806 with the arrival of the first group of Chinese migrants from Guangdong province. So our friendship goes back over 215 years. So we do have quite a large, vibrant Chinese community in Trinidad and Tobago, and they are fiercely proud of their traditions, their customs, and of course upholding the culture as well.
Do you have a Chinatown then, and with
Yes,
Chinese restaurants
recently
and everything?
established in Port of Spain. Port of Spain has a twinning arrangement with Shanghai as well. So Charlotte Street on Port of Spain has traditionally been home to many Chinese restaurants and and grocery stores and many shops that have, you know, daily consumables and household
What is the
commodities.
most popular Chinese dish that the local people
Oh
love?
my goodness, there are so many. Chinese food is very, very popular in Trinidad and Tobago. And the thing is that our country is so multi-ethnic and multicultural. So the local spices are also infused into the traditional cooking traditions.
Can you give an example, maybe?
Absolutely. We have our own version of cha shao bao, which we call pao. So it's still filled with the cha shao pork inside, and it's a local favorite for children and adults, and it's really a big part
But with
of our
Caribbean
cuisine.
spices.
Oh yes, absolutely.
So instead of sweet, it has what, how would you describe it?
We have some of our local spices as well in it, including the seasonings. So shadow beni, which is almost similar to cilantro. So we do have our own flavorings that we add into the traditional cooking traditions across the world. So cha shao bao is very, very popular in Trinidad and Tobago, as well as wontons, wonton. So those things are also very popular.
We shouldn't talk about that because that
Definitely.
that gets my stomach rumbling. And ooh, okay. Ian, tell us about the the Chinese Lunar New Year festival atmosphere in Grenada.
Well, you know, it's interesting. We share two events in our history that's around the same time as the Chinese New Year. One in particular, this year we celebrated our 50th anniversary of independence on the 7th of February. And also in Carriacou, that's one of our dependent islands, we also have Carnival, Kwanghuanjie. What has been happening recently with the development of our friendship, China and Grenada, through the embassy, the Chinese embassy in Grenada, and the Chinese companies that are present, they were able to launch their mass band in Carnival. Carnival is it's a celebration.
Of course.
Yes, costumes.
So a float, like
yes.
a formation, a procession.
Correct.
Yeah.
So this year we had the dragons, the drums, and so that continued to create that bond. Now, over the last 19 years since our resumption, there has been quite a bit of scholarship students coming to China, like myself, and returning home and sharing our experience with China. And that certainly has given a different outlook, and that helps to create that relationship. And during the Chinese New Year, now most Grenadians look forward to sharing with the Chinese embassy or the Chinese population in our country, because there's a festival, they'll invite friends, workers, and that is now part of our society. It builds part of the fabric.
So what is the most prominent or recognized symbol of China, of Chinese festival in Grenada?
The food.
The food.
Chinese food is loved by all, by everyone. All right. In Grenada, we have quite a few Chinese restaurants that I know from since I was a young boy, from Guangdong, yeah. And it has been one of our favorites. We look forward to going to get Chinese food. And with the advent of our reestablishment of ties and the scholarships, now you find the population, they're embracing more and more the Chinese food. The dim sum, the jiaozi, bao jiaozi, chow fang, sweet and sour, pork, chicken. So yeah, they are looking forward to it. And so of course, one common thing is the fireworks.
The fireworks?
Yes.
Oh, to celebrate the traditional Chinese New Year.
Correct, and also our independence. Because 50 years independence, every year, the fireworks most times are imported from China.
I see. So people see fireworks, it's from China. It's a very Chinese thing for the...
So we celebrate that February month with fireworks.
From China?
From China.
Wow.
And of course, that period again, it's about friends and family. Every independence, it's about food, cooking our national dish, togetherness. So it's a similar meaning.
Yeah. What is the national dish?
Sure, it's called oil down. Oildwn.
Ah, oil down.
Yeah.
How come we start talking about so much food?
Yes.
Yeah.
But Spring Festival is about eating. I mean, it's a big thing for the Chinese people, also because of the eating, but also because of the family reunion, you know, because of the emotional touch as well. But looking from the other direction, after you come here, you know, you talk to the local people about your country, and China, of course, in terms of population, is not on the same scale with Caribbean countries, with many countries in the world. How is your country perceived by the Chinese population, you know, cultural-wise, for instance, or do people know about it? Are the awareness and the understanding improved, expanded over the past few years?
Yeah, this is what I go to work to do every day. And it's what I've been doing for the past 14 years of myself being here in China. And I really think that I naturally have been an ambassador since that time. And I say that because from the first time I arrived in 2010, at the time I came as a student, my first year I learned Chinese, and in that school, in that university, but also in that city, which was Tianjin, I was the only Barbadian. So from the beginning, people, you know, they're beginning to learn my name, but what they remember was Barbados, you know, Barbados. And they would even call me Barbados, the Barbadosa, Barbadosa. And for many people, and you know, also because of, if you understand Chinese, the first tone nature of the word Barbadosa, it sounded a bit funny to many people. So people began to associate Barbados with me. So that's a lot of pressure, you know, how I carry myself, what I like to do, what I'm interested in. They associated that, okay, Barbados must be like that. And that's something that I think is valid for every Barbadian that comes here to China. And over the years, we've had scholarship students. Like I said, in my year, we were 2. As our relations improved over the years, we had up to 4, 8, 10 students coming per year. Students here, they assist us at the embassy as sort of like satellite ambassadors by representing what Barbados has to offer, by informing and sharing with their Chinese friends and also the wider diaspora what Barbados is about.
Yeah. What is Barbados about for the ordinary Chinese? I mean, is there one thing or one image?
I would say, if I had to put it into one sentence, it's a beautiful island that has developed in a way that makes it very conducive for actually living, recreation, and play. And for that reason, we have done very well in the financial services sector. But in recent years, the one word that people associate with Barbados globally has been Rihanna. Rihanna, who is now a global superstar, she's a billionaire entrepreneur, has transcended from a singer to an artist to now...
and she was born...
She was born and raised in Barbados. So that is something that now people start to identify with that they wouldn't have been when I first came to China. So it's a case where I try to bridge that gap between what people know about Rihanna and what they know about Barbados. Because once they hear Rihanna's from Barbados, they get very interested. Because, you know, Rihanna's a gem.
We do have a lot to learn. We do have a lot to learn about the Caribbean region. Ambassador Lau, what is your observation of the perception and understanding of Trinidad and Tobago among the Chinese?
I think that not many of our Chinese friends are fully aware of the reciprocal cultural contributions between our both countries. For example, in Trinidad and Tobago, they are very well aware that the Chinese would have migrated to Trinidad and Tobago in successive waves from the 1930s, the 1940s, and the 1950s as well. And the Chinese would have contributed significantly towards law, politics, medicine, and of course the creative industry in Trinidad and Tobago. But of course, apart from those contributions from China to Trinidad and Tobago, the people of Trinidad and Tobago have also contributed significantly to China, and many people aren't aware of that. So I always relish the opportunity to share and to talk a little bit about that. For example, the late Miss Dai Alian, she was the the founder and the principal of the Beijing Dance Academy, and she is considered the mother of Chinese modern dance. And she is of Chinese descent, and she was born and raised in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yeah, I never knew of that.
Of course,
yeah,
and similarly,
and
Mr. Eugene Chen, he is considered the first Minister of Foreign Affairs of China under 4 successive governments under Republican China, and he was also born and raised in Trinidad and Tobago. Well, he served in 1927 as the Foreign Minister. So there are those reciprocal cultural contributions as well.
What about the asphalt story?
Yes, of course. I get asked that all the time.
Yeah.
Many of our Chinese friends, you know, they always say, you know, the asphalt in Trinidad and Tobago, they know the asphalt for its high quality and high value. And of course, the pitch lake is found in Trinidad and Tobago, in the south of Trinidad and Tobago. And it is considered the largest natural deposit of pitch in the world. And you can find our asphalt. It was used to pave the Beijing, the Dashing Airport in Beijing, as well as the Hong Kong, Macau, Zhuhai Bridge, as well as the Beijing Chang'an Avenue. So it's quite well known.
Next time I walk on the Chang'an Avenue.
Absolutely, we have part of Trinidad and Tobago in Beijing.
We'll think about that. I mean, it is incredible, right?
Yeah,
it is incredible. You never think that something so close that you take for granted in your daily life is actually coming from a place that's far, far away. And that's fascinating. That's fascinating. Ian, your observation, you're here relatively new, but you, as an ambassador.
As an ambassador.
But yeah, as a student, you've been here almost 20 years.
Right, yeah. As a student, I've been a student 5 years, from 2006 to 2011. Now, I believe my journey, like Ambassador Hallam, similarly, my role as ambassador started then. After only 6 months in school, and by the way, I attended the Beijing Jiaotong University. I was selected to be the president of the Foreign Students Union, being the only Grenadian in that school. After the language year there, I was the only foreign student in my class. So my friends were all Chinese. And of course, it gave me great pleasure to explain and show what Grenada, where Grenada is, what it has to offer, and share some of our spices. And when I say spices, Grenada is known as the Isle of Spice. So just a fact, we, apart from Indonesia, who produces or is the #1 producer of nutmeg, we are the #2 producer of nutmeg in the world. Also cocoa. We do have, a matter of fact, right now we are known as the culinary capital of the Caribbean.
Are you jealous?
And we do produce some really high-end organic chocolates. So again, Grenada is known as the Isle of Spice. It is tourism-based. We do have beaches, and it's peaceful. But it's the Isle of Spice.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's fascinating, and I want to know more about all that we just discussed. How about doing that in part 2 of this special edition of The Point with me, Liu Xin. Many thanks to my guests, Annalisa Lau, Ambassador of Trinidad and Tobago to China, Hallam Henry, Ambassador of Barbados to China, and Ian Marshall, Ambassador of Grenada to China. And with that, we come to the end of this special edition of The Point with me, Liu Xin. As always, you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter using the handle Liu Xin in Beijing. On behalf of the whole team, thank you for watching. And since this is the eve of the Chinese New Year, why don't we say it together?
Happy Chinese New Year!